Albert, driver of the '04 mainly asphalt Camaro. You're watching XCAL on Tella TV.
Esto es XCAL League, soy Octavio Rondoletto y me verás arriba del Tella 77.
Hi, this is Angelo Esposito, driver of the 33 machine, and you're watching XCAL Racing on Tella TV.
Hi, this is Kenny Tripp, driver of the main model truck service Camaro. You're watching XCAL Racing on Tella TV.
Hey, ich heiße Rafael Sempro und bin der Fahrer des Wagens mit der Nummer 74 und ihr guckt XCAL Racing auf Tella TV.
This is Ryan Soper, driver of the number 84 RS racing car, and you're watching XCAL Racing on Tella TV.
Good evening, my friend, and welcome to Heat Race number 3 of 4 for the XCAL Racing. Everything's bigger in Texas 225. My name's Speedy J. Zeller, the voice of XCAL Racing, and you're tuned in to yet another Tella TV production, my friend. And let me tell you what, you are in for a doozy of a heat race there, as the first two have certainly been a feast for the eyes. This one should be no different. This race, we will have an in-car reporter. Mr. Paul Coleman Jr. will be joining us as our in-car reporter. And before the race, we're going to catch a quick word with him as he puts down some final qualifying laps. So I'm going to dial up the helmet of Paul, and all right, we got him. Paul, it's PD up in the booth, man. Tell me, we're here at Texas Speedway. Can you explain to our viewers a little bit as you hit the wall what's the difference between the Texas Motor Speedway and the Charlotte Motor Speedway?
That wall comes at you very quick here at Texas, but it's just a little bit bigger. Actually, there's a little bit more room to race, and yeah, it's. I think to me, Texas suits my driving style just a little bit better than than Charlotte.
So Paul, tell me, how are you feeling about your odds in this race? We all know you're a big super speedway guy. At Michigan, we saw you up in the top 5 late in the going, got taken out in a wreck within 5 to go. Charlotte, things didn't go your way. You were involved in an early wreck, so we've seen you on both ends of the spectrum, competing for a win late and taken out in the first big one. What's the key to this one to maybe finally get that 66 car in victory lane?
Definitely the key to this one is making sure you're around for the end there. I got a little too aggressive at Charlotte trying to make my way up front because it was, a sprint race of only 100 laps. So I had to make my way up to the front early. This one, it's a little bit, as they say, everything's a little bit bigger in Texas, so we got a little bit bigger laps. Going to take my time, move myself up slowly, and be there for the end.
All right, Paul, well, thank you for your word, and best of luck to you and the K2 team in this one.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Look forward to talking to you in either victory lane or hopefully there's no yellows.
All right. Well, hopefully we don't talk to Paul again unless he's in victory lane, because no yellows are no fun, we always like to say. So as they're wrapping up qualifying here, we're getting ready to grid the field. Just a reminder from the first 2 heat races. Heat race number 1 was won by Tyler Jalbert. Jalbert beat Kyle Streichars to the line in a photo finish. 3rd was Tyler Batchelder. 4th place was Cody Jones, and 5th place was Matthew Baer. In the second heat race, it was Tyler McRae who ended up victorious, with 2nd place in a photo finish again in heat race number 2 was Noah Carpenter. 3rd place was Jordan Babinger, and those were your top 3 in heat race number 2. As we get ready to grid this one. But worth noting, those first 2 heat races, they had photo finishes. And one big thing, too, is that in both those races, we saw teammates on the inside lane coming to the checkered flag, and it was teamwork that led to victory for a lot of these drivers in the first 2 heat races. Here's the starting grid for heat race number 3. Starting on pole position, that is position number 1, is the number 77 of Octavio Rondoletto. In second, in the number 2, is Benjamin Eaton. In third, in the number 16, is going to be Pat Sullivan. And in fourth, in the number 25, will be Bruce Helmuth. In fifth, in the number 17, will be Sean Patrick. In sixth, in the 03, will be William Karp. In seventh, in the number 32, will be Trevor Birchmere. And in eighth, in the number 1 car, will be Clinus LaBeouf. In ninth, in the number 12, will be Kenny Tripp. And rounding out our top 10, in the number 28, will be Stephen Rex. In 11th, in the number 37, will be Art Hendren. In 12th, in the number 4, will be Brad Galogly. In 13th, in the number 82, will be Alex Gangler. In 14th, in the number 66, will be Kendrick Crayer. In 15th, in the number 7, will be Jeff Edgar. In 16th, in the number 67, will be Adam Padilla. 17th, in the 062, will be Johnny B. 18th, the 5 of Derek Colson. 19th, the 83 of Tim Skillman. And 20th will be Paul Coleman Jr. In 21st will be the number 19 of Greg Holes. 22nd will be the number 81 of Dwayne Robinson. 23rd will be the number 13 of Darren Snyder. 24th will be the number 31 of Josh Rogers. 25th will be the 01 of John Schwartz. 26th will be the 454 of Luke Turpin. And in 27th will be the number 24 of Jeremy Leto as we get ready to get things underway here from the Texas Motor Speedway. Everything's bigger in Texas. And we're actually going to take a quick word here to talk with the guy starting on the outside of the front row in a little pre-race interview. We're going to try to dial up his car right now. And let's see. Ben Eaton, it's PD up in the broadcast booth. You got a copy, man?
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, Ben, great starting position for the number 2 team. You're starting on the outside of the front row. Looking good. You have 3 of your teammates starting, or 3 of team cars, I should say, starting 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. So what's the game plan here, Ben, in this heat race for you and your team?
Make it to the end.
That certainly is a big one. If you can make it to the end, Ben, how do you feel? You've ran the first 2 heat races, got a lot of practice in this draft. Do you think that 2 car has a piece that could find itself in victory lane?
I certainly hope so. Got plenty of practice this week on this, and this Sullivan iRacing Motorsports Rubbery Fields Apothecary car is going to hopefully find its way there and talk to you after the race.
All right, well, that is guy starting in 2nd place, Ben Eaton. Thank you for taking a quick word with us, Ben. We'll let you get back to your team. So we go down the backstretch. This time by, we will be taking the green flag. It will be Octavio Rondoletto in that number 77 car leading the field to green. It's worth noting, when he is in the lead, the 77 car is an awfully hard car to pass these restrictor plate tracks. He did lead wire to wire in the heat race at Charlotte he ran. He did win the Charlotte Charity race just by not letting anyone get by him pretty much for the whole race. When Rondoletto is in the lead at these restrictor plate tracks, he's an awfully tough cat to get by. Here we go. The iRacing Ford Mustang takes the hard left-hand turn. Texas Terry Labonte holds the flag in hand. Here they come, and Terry's going to let him rip. Green flag in the air. We're down and away, and Rondoletto on the inside gets a jump. Looks like Sean Patrick and Fifth didn't get going that well. The inside line got checked up a little bit. Here we go. Rondoletto is going to clear Eaton to the top spot. That's going to let Pat Sullivan slide in behind him. Sullivan now races with his teammate for the 2nd spot as Bruce Helmuth cuts off the nose of Patrick. And Ben Eaton has a big hole to slide down into if he wants. He will. So now Rondoletto will be followed by the 3 team cars of Helmuth, Eaton, and Sullivan. First car on the outside lane is the 03 of William Carp. Carp races on the outside of Sean Patrick for 5th. It's going to be Carp's spot as they come off the corner. No help yet for Carp until Kenny Tripp in the 12 car jumps up to the high side in about 8th. No help whatsoever, though. Carp's going to have to do it on his own for a little while as he races up there. He does have his teammate, Clinus LaBeouf, right behind him, so maybe LaBeouf will jump up there and give him a helping hand. All single file in the top 4. Battle back for 5th is the first side-by-side action. Looking through the field, looks like a clean start. Everyone got it going. All 27 cars did make it around the first lap green. As now that 03 on the high side does start to mount a little bit of a charge. The side drafts right up with Sean Patrick. That 1 car of LaBeouf is all over the bumper of Patrick. Got Patrick a little sideways there for a quick moment. And now the outside lane is starting to form. Here we go. LaBeouf jumps to the outside along with Tripp. I see Rex up there now, and also it looks like the 66 of Kendrick Cryers came up there, although he gets a little contact with another car. He's going to hang on to it for the time being. Rondoletto continues to show the way around the racetrack. Really, no one's gotten close enough to him to challenge him yet. That 77 has had smooth sailing so far. Our in-race reporter, Paul Coleman Jr., it looks like he has found himself in some sort of trouble there, as he now finds himself 20 seconds behind the field. Something happened there with Paul. We'll try to get a word with him if there's a caution. A tough break there, though, for the 2016. Up front, Rondoletto still leads. On the outside, it's that 03 of Carp. He has a lot of help now. Kenny Tripp is pulled right up to his bumper, and Tripp gives him a shove. Carp is now up to 4th. That outside lane's starting to move. Carp continues to make his run towards the top. He now is going to try to look on for 3rd place with Ben Eaton. Is right up on his bumper is that number 12 of Kenny Tripp. Tripp's giving him all the help in the world right now. It's just that 03 having a hard time getting his way up towards the front. Here we go. Kenny Tripp's going to pull into the inside now. That's going to leave the first car on the outside as the 28 of Stephen Rex. So it's now a battle for 3rd on the outside as the 03 does get a nice run through the corner. The 03 of Carp pulls up to the 2's door. He's now going to try to challenge Sullivan for 2nd. That 03 really doing this on his own right now. An impressive use of the side draft by William Carp to make his way up to 3rd. Here we go now. He's going to try to battle for 2nd with Sullivan. Actually, it's going to be Eaton battling back for 3rd now. Eaton does drive right up to his door. Ben Eaton's going to take the position for the time being. Up front, the battle for the lead starting to heat up. Pat Sullivan gives the 77 of Rondoletto a little bit of a tap there, a little bit of a nudge saying, come on, let's get going. And the 03 of William Carp does get a good run through 3 and 4. As as now he has a lot of help on the high side from Steven Rex. Rex runs all over his bumper right now. Rex just trying to push him as far as he can towards the front of this field, as that outside lane doesn't have a whole lot of cars in it. The first 2 heat races, we saw quite a few guys jumping up to that outside lane, making their moves, making things happen. But in this one, however, it's just not a lot of guys willing to go up there yet. Things have been really spread out to start this one. Carp, just not a lot of friends, and it is hard to... It's hard to make your way up to the front one of these things without many friends, and especially if you're doing it on that outside lane. Even the inside lane can kind of defend for a little while with no help. If you're in that outside lane, though, you need like 3 or 4 cars drafting to really get that push to the front. Here's the third one. Here comes Kenny Tripp now to the high side. Tripp's going to help that high line make their move as LaBeouf will now pull is the 5th car on the left side. Carp continues to race side by side with Eaton for 3rd as Helmut hits the apron a little bit. Helmut's going to hang out. No worse for wear there. It is that 03 William Carp, though, that we're keeping our eyes on, seeing what type of charge he can make. Octavio Rondoletto has led every lap so far, as we're 7 laps of 40 into this one here. That Rondoletto 77. I told you before the race, it's going to be awfully hard to get around him. He does not give up positions easily at restrictor plate tracks, as now the battle for second's on. Carp has pulled even with Patrick Sullivan for the 2nd spot. The outside lane finally getting some momentum. It took about 8 laps. They got it going now. Here we go. The 03 side by side for 2nd. Sullivan doing a good job keeping that car pinned to the white line on the inside, but it's that 03 keeping the RPMs revved up way high on the outside, taking all the air off the spoiler of those inside cars, and he gets huge runs down the straightaways. Kenny Tripp is giving a big bump right now. Steven Rex down the backstretch. Tripp has been racing aggressively so far in these heat races. I kind of talked to him a little bit before the race, and in a few of the past restrictor plate races, we really haven't seen Kenny Tripp run on. Not that he hasn't run up front, he just hasn't really gotten the best finishes in the restrictor plate races. And I think today we're going to see him race a little bit more aggressively. I think he's been watching the good plate racers like Turpin and Rondoletto, and your guys like Rex and McRae, some guys that are really good at this restrictor plate type of racing. And I think he gets the key to being fast in these restrictor plate races. It's quite the contrary of what you think. Everyone's always saying you got to be careful, got to make sure you have a car at the end. All these things are true. However, the guys that you will find are the best at restrictor plate racing. If we have a car into the wall, it's Trevor Birchmere. The keys to these restrictor plate races, though, is being aggressive when it's time to be aggressive. Some of these guys, they're not afraid to stick it in the middle and make it 3 wide. They know that everyone else around them is going to get uncomfortable and check up and give them the spot. And sometimes, yes, it's good to be mindful, it's good to be respectful, and it's good to bide your time. Other times, it's good to go up there and race. And that's what we see some of the best guys do, and that's what we've seen Kenny Tripp doing this weekend. I think he's really starting to get a good grasp on this restrictor plate type racing we do at XCAL. So here we go. Speaking of making it aggressive, Tripp goes to the outside to make it 3 wide for that position. Nothing doing there yet. Tripp's not going to be able to really battle for that spot. He'll just slide back in the line. Still, it's Carp racing side by side from 2nd, this time by 10 laps in the book at the flag stand. We're 1/4 of the way into this heat race, and still that outside lane has yet to challenge Octavio Rondoletto once. Rondoletto's, it's been smooth, clear sailing up front for that 77 machine. That guy, I was talking a little bit with some of the cars in the team that I own before the race, and they were talking to me about, Rondoletto and Turpin. You always see those 2 guys up front, even at restrictor plate races. It's so weird. And I told them, there's just some guys that are very good race car drivers. There's some guys that are just always going to run up near the front no matter what track and car we go to. There's some guys that are just wheelmen. And Octavio Rondoletto certainly falls under that umbrella. That 77 car, you can put Octavio in just about any machine, as we have a checkup a little bit. It looks like no one's any worse for wear. Actually, there's going to be a little bit of a wreck. Sean Patrick gets into it now. No, we have a car going around. That might be trouble. Caution's going to fly. Caution will fly as the car goes around. So caution is out on the racetrack. That looks like it started with maybe the 5 of Derek Colson, I want to say. And it does look like that did start with Derek Colson. So we'll get a replay for that in a moment for you. And here's the replay. It looks like Colson was just trying to go to the outside of Alex Gangler. Gangler put him up near the fence, and Sean Patrick got involved in it too, and then Colson just went around. Johnny B, he went across Johnny B's nose. Nothing Johnny could have done there, though. And Colson, nice job missing him, was Darren Snyder. Snyder just went right around him. Hitting him pretty hard was the 32 of Trevor Birchmere. And caution will fly as Derek Colson unfortunately brought out the caution there. Let's try to get a word in with Alex Gangler, who was part of that caution in the beginning. Let me try to tune into his radio real quick. Alex Gangler, it's PD up in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Oh, yeah, I do.
Alex, well, it looks like you had a really good view of the start of that caution. What happened from your perspective?
Oh, from my side, what I saw was a big checkup from the front here, and then the two cars behind me tried to avoid the two cars, me and the car in front of me checking up. And one, I think, hit the wall. I'm not quite sure what happened, but they somehow made contact. And then after that, they both came down, and one hit the wall again, and one came down and went down to the apron.
Gotcha. Well, you're currently sitting P11, it looks like, as you cross the start-finish line. So certainly within striking distance of a transfer spot. What's the game plan here, Alex, to get up in the top 5?
I think the game plan doesn't really change much in these super speedway races, but again, it's keep the car clean, watch out what's going on ahead of you as much as what's going on to the leaders, because as these wrecks happen, the ones from the front are the ones that cost the most, because it takes all the cars behind them. And then eventually just stay on the inside line for me personally, because I don't like the outside. I tried it in my first heat, so heat number 2, I think it was, but it cost me 15 spots or 12 spots or something like that in the first 5 laps, so I learned not to do that again.
All right, well, thank you, Alex. Hopefully we find you running up near the front of the end. Thank you for taking a moment to talk to us.
Yep, no problem.
All right, it's Alex Gangler, driver of the number 82 machine. And now that Gangler, we've had word with him, I think it's time to tune up our in-race reporter, Paul Coleman Jr. Let's switch to his channel real quick. And Paul Coleman, it's PD up in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, PD, what's going on?
Paul, tell me, what the heck happened there to the 66 car? I looked, and about lap number 2, you already had quite a bit of nose damage, and you find yourself 4 laps down. What happened?
Well, as you know, my goal in life, anytime I'm in a super speedway, is I want to run with Luke Turpin. And so I happened to see Luke in my rearview mirror. And so I moved up high to let him pass me. And as I was trying to get down below to, follow him, because, Luke's going to probably get all the way up to the front and probably finish second in this race, kind of got a little loose on those street stock tires and hit it. All driver, total driver error, and now I'm just sitting in the pits watching everybody go around.
Paul, it's funny, I actually just watched what happened there to you, and you're right, you did just get up in the marbles a little bit and lost it, and Jeremy Leto actually followed you, and he spun out too and hit the inside wall, so at least you're not alone. It was a legitimate issue. But however, Paul, you're getting the car fixed, you're probably out of the running for a top 5 in this heat race. So now what's the game plan for heat number 4, knowing that it's all on the line to transfer in that heat?
Absolutely, we're gonna get out there, get this car fixed up a little bit, get some practice laps in, and like I said, just try not to be like I was just way too aggressive. I was trying to try to get on the Luke Turpin train, and that probably wasn't the best case. Maybe we'll qualify a little better too. That might not be a bad idea.
All right, well, thank you, Paul, for taking a moment to talk to us. That was Paul Coleman Jr. in the number 66 machine. This time by the flag stand. There's 1 lap till we get going green once again. Still 24 laps to go at the green flag. There'll be 24 laps left in this heat race when we get things going. Here's how it's going to run. First place, Octavio Rondoletto. Second place, Pat Sullivan. Third place, William Karp. Fourth, Ben Eaton. Fifth, Stephen Rex. Sixth, Kenny Tripp. Seventh, Bruce Helmoth. Eighth, Aquinas LaBeouf. Ninth, Krenjik Cryer. And running in 10th will be Brad Glogly. So we still have we still have 25 of the 27 cars who started this race running on the lead lap. Derek Colson is out there 1 lap down, so still really 26 cars in contention. Not bad at all, considering we started 27. Paul Coleman Jr. As I mumble there a little bit, Paul Coleman Jr. really the one exception to cars that are out of this thing. Unfortunately for him, that tough go early on really took him out of it. As we come through 3 and 4, Octavio Rondoletto has the field at his mercy. He does have those 2 team cars on the outside. Let's see if they work together and maybe try to man that outside lane. Early on in the race, we saw Sullivan and Eaton just kind of content to run behind Rondoletto. Let's see if they challenge him on the high side. Pace car makes the hard left-hand turn. Field is at the mercy of the 77. Texas Terry holds the flag in hand. Green flag in the air. We're down and away, and Rondoletto gets a little loose on the grass. Rondoletto clipped the grass and got loose there, and now it's going to be the Sullivan machine inching ahead by a little bit there. Sullivan had the lead at the stripe by 21 thousandths of a second. Here they come racing side by side down into turn 1. It's going to be Rondoletto in the 77 car, though, taking that position back. There's a hole for Sullivan to pull in front of Karp if he wants to. He's going to choose not to. He'll run on the high side with his teammate Eaton. Worth noting, too, that 12 car of Kenny Tripp on the high side. His team, Mainly Asphalt Racing, is affiliated with Sullivan iRacing Motorsports. So those 3 cars on the outside, and actually it might be 4 cars all the way back to Helmuth, they're all kind of affiliated with each other on that outside lane, so expect them to work together here to try to get around Rondoletto. This time by the stripe, it is Rondoletto leading by 13 one-thousandths of a second. Couldn't get much closer than that. But as we actually have cars challenging Rondoletto on the high side, we didn't see this all in the first run. Sullivan gets pushed out of the groove. Eaton now is going to take that spot away from his teammate. It looks like Kenny Tripp's just going to let Sullivan get back into line. A nice team move there by Tripp, so Sullivan will slide back into line in front of Kenny Tripp. That leaves Eaton kind of out to dry, though, with no help, and William Karp is going to have all the time in the world to make the decision he wants to. Will he want to go with Sullivan, or excuse me, will he want to go with Rondoletto, or will he want to jump outside and get help from Eaton and maybe take the lead? We'll find out, although Eaton's not going away easy. He continues to race side by side with Karp for the second spot. It is Eaton on that high side in the 2 car, manning that thing around the corner. Karp, though, on the inside, doing a good job of staying tucked right in behind Rondoletto, doing his best to try to get that car out in front. So we have the outside lane is starting to reform a little bit there as Eaton and the 03 of Karp make contact down the backstretch. They all keep him facing the right way as here comes Sullivan trying to help his teammate again. As Sullivan, Stephen Rex get into it. Rex is going to go around. He's going to save it. Heck of a save there by Stephen Rex. Save of the year so far, I would say. That car was dead sideways and didn't wreck. That got everyone all out of shape up front, though. That'll move Clinus LaBeouf up to 5th in the final transfer spot. And now Eaton is just going to have to slide into line with absolutely no draft help, as he will pull into 3rd. It's still Karp in 2nd. 1st is going to be Rondoletto. 4th will be Sullivan, as Eaton is all over the bumper right now with William Karp. And a tough break there for Stephen Rex, but that could have been a lot worse, let me tell you what. As Rex actually did get that car gathered, and he was able to slide into line behind some of these other drivers. So we'll keep an eye on him, see if he can make his way back up towards the front. But at the front of the field, it's all single file now, as that one really shook things up. This time by, Texas Terry shows the crossbars. Halfway down, halfway to go in heat race number 3, as we have only seen 1 caution so far. Running right behind our leaders is another little pack. We have Alex Gangler's up to 6th now, and 7th is Kenny Tripp. 8th is Johnny B, and then a whole mess of cars behind him, including Luke Turpin in the 454 starting to make his charge towards the front. Always worth noting where Turpin's going, as here we go, Kenny Tripp goes to the inside of Gangler. Gangler cuts his nose off. In front of them, they race for 4th. Clinus LaBeouf makes a move on Patrick Sullivan. LaBeouf dives to the inside. LaBeouf now drives side by side with the 16. LaBeouf is going to take that position away at the stripe. He had him by just a little bit, and LaBeouf trying to clear the 16 is that high line. Nothing doing up there yet. And now the 2 of Eaton comes up high. He's going to try to help his teammate. But LaBeouf now is going to be right behind his teammate, William Karp. A lot of teamwork going on, and no teammates for Octavio Rondoletto in sight. Rondoletto kind of just left to fend for himself up here. So that outside lane does get going with those 3 team cars once again. Karp does have the option to pull up top if he wants to. Let's see if he does. Off the corner, Karp will keep that car in the low line. He doesn't want to do anything too crazy. So Karp continues to run in 2nd position. On the high side now, Eaton challenges him. And Eaton is going to get a little loose there on the high side. He will hang on to it, though. As this lead pack has reformed a little bit, it looks like we're back up to 10 cars now, as everyone got it back going a good bit. And then there's a big second pack from about 11th to 22nd. Up front, though, it is the 2 car of Eaton getting squirrely. He gets pushed out of the groove. He gets loose, but he is going to hang on to it. And now Sullivan will have to slide in the line behind him. So a good job there by Ben Eaton hanging on to a car that I thought for sure was going into the fence. So now it's going to be that 03 of Karp all by himself on the inside behind Rondoletto. He could jump up top if he wants to. I think the thing here is, though, Eaton is still racing side by side with LaBeouf for 3rd. And I don't think Karp wants to go to the high side if he can't take his teammate with him, as now Eaton gets loose. Caution will fly on the racetrack. Caution is out. As we find ourselves under caution for the 2nd time here in this race. It looks like the 25 of Bruce Helmond is going around. So we'll see what happened there in just one moment, my friend. Tough break there for the 25 cars. Running up in the top 5 early in this one. qualified fourth, as you see the replay now, heading into turn number 1, and oh yeah, the 81 of Dwayne Robinson just drove underneath the white line and pretty much just took the 25 out. I don't know if that was intentional or not. It kind of looked it, as that crash also collected Jeremy Leto once again. The 28 of Steven Rex and Josh Rogers got into it. A tough break there, as a caution will fly in the Speedway once again. And we're going to try to get a word in with Bruce Helmoth, as he was involved in that accident. We're going to try to dial up his radio real quick, and I think we got him. Bruce Helmoth, it's PD up in the booth. You got a copy?
Hello, buddy. How you doing up there?
Not too bad. I think I'm doing better than you right now, Bruce. Take us through what happened there in an accident. It looks like the 81 might have just dove a little too low.
Well, I'm glad you're up there in the booth enjoying the Temp Center's mechanical air conditioning up there. Well, the WDA Simon Strawberry Fields car is pretty good. Just unfortunately, I think somebody got under me a little too much there, and well, we got collected. So it is what it is. We'll see if we can get back and get in the top 5 so we can make it in the show without getting a provisional.
Well, Bruce, still, how's the car feeling despite the, I know you hit the wall pretty hard on that spin. Is the steering wheel still straight? Do you think the car still is enough to race back through the pack?
Draft can be a tricky thing. I think I'm doing all right. Biggest thing is keep an eye on my water temp. I think I got some damage on the nose here, so we'll see what we can pull out of this.
All right, that was Bruce Helmuth, driver of the number 25 Patrick Sullivan iRacing Motorsports machine. Once again, now we are going to take the opportunity to, I was going to say we're going to talk to our in-car reporter, but I think he's out of this race, so we will pass up on our in-car reporter for this one. Maybe we'll talk to him next race. We're going to take a 30-second timeout for station identification. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with XCAL Racing on Telesign TV. Welcome back to XCAL Racing. My name is PDJ Zeller, the voice of XCAL Racing, and you're tuned in to Telesign TV, iRacing's best broadcast team. And you know, there's a lot of great broadcast teams, don't get me wrong. Yeah, you have your guys over in a lot of the Pro Series ones, a lot of the ones doing these big name leagues and whatnot. But I'll tell you what, Telesign TV, for as new as this channel is and as new as these broadcasts are, I think we're right up there with the best of them competing already. Telesign TV. If you're watching this and you're part of a different league that needs a race broadcasted, feel free to reach out to Telesign TV. You can contact us on YouTube, or you can message Tanner Kalin on iRacing. We would be happy to possibly do your league if it fits into all of our schedules. Just be sure to check out Telesign TV. I'm sure as you're seeing, this is a great product that we put on, and we would be open to maybe in the future doing more things. It would just depend on scheduling, but it can't hurt to reach out, maybe talk some numbers, talk some times. Telesign TV, as you see, one of the best production units in iRacing. So this time by the flag stand, there's going to be 1 lap till we go green. We're going to go green with about 12 laps to go here in heat race number 3. Here's going to be your top 10. In first position will be Octavio Rondoletto. Second will be William Karp. Third will be Clinus LaBeouf. Fourth is going to be Ben Eaton. Fifth will be Alex Gangler. Sixth will be Pat Sullivan. 7th, Kenny Tripp. 8th, Johnny B. 9th, Luke Turpin. And 10th, Kendrick Crayer. As a lot of controversy. Dwayne Robinson actually was given the penalty for causing that caution, and he was not too happy about it. He did not feel like he caused it, so he's kind of arguing with race control right now, but race control's having none of it as the field comes down the backstretch. Look at 9th place, Luke Turpin. That's funny, because normally in these races, if you're running 9th with about 11 to go, you're not out of it. You could certainly still win, but you don't expect to see a car get up to the front in that amount of time. Turpin, has been running these races for a long time. I'll tell you what, we did a heat race about 2 or 3 weeks ago at Charlotte, and he restarted in 12th position with 3 laps to go. Or maybe it was 4 laps to go. It wasn't many, I know that much. And he actually was able to drive that car from about 13th or 14th in 3 or 4 laps to victory lane. One of the best pieces of driving I've seen Luke Turpin do, and that's really saying something. The iRacing Ford Mustang makes the hard left-hand turn, field at the mercy of Octavio Rondoletto. Texas Terry holds the flag in hand. He waves it. Green flag in the air. We're down and away, and it's that high side getting the jump as Gangler gets loose on the inside. Gangler's going to hang on to 5th for the time being, but up top, it is that 03 of William Karp. He's leading the way around the high side with help from Ben Eaton. Here comes Alex Gangler. He gets right up to the bumper now of Aquinas to Buff. Gangler going to try to give the Buff a little bit of a shove there as Rondoletto storms out to the lead. He has the lead by a country mile. On the high side, it's that 03 of Karp getting a lot of help from Eaton. They're trying to get that high side going once again. This high side has really had a hard time getting going in this heat race. I don't know if that's just because Rondoletto just understands this so well that he's able to run the low line in a way that no one else can to make the high side not able to compete, or just the guys on the high line haven't been able to get organized like they have in the other heat races. But for whatever reason, that high line just has not been moving so far. Now we have Aquinas to Buff up in second. He rides right on the bumper of Rondoletto. Let's see if he jumps to the high side and tries to move with his teammate William Karp. Here we go off the corner. Does LaBeouf make the move to the high side, or does he stay peckered down low? He will keep it on the low side, as now the 03 of Karp continues to battle up top. Karp comes around the high side. He races side by side with Alex Gangler now. Luke Turpin making it 3 wide a little bit back in the field. Hold up. Here comes Luke Turpin. He makes a 3 wide move. He's going to slide back in the line. But Turpin, after restarting 9th, looks like he's already made up a little headway, as that outside lane can just not get organized whatsoever right now. They're really all over the place in that high side, as Karp is just up there all by himself. And now Turpin's going to move Eaton out of the way. Turpin gets underneath Eaton. Darren Snyder runs right behind him. Eaton and Turpin touch doors. Darren Snyder looks to make it 3 wide. Darren Snyder will make it 3 wide. Darren Snyder goes to the inside now. He's going to try to get a draft heading into turn number 3. He is underneath Turpin. He does give Turpin a hole to pull down. Turpin will not pull down, though, as Snyder will just have to be mired back in 9th for about the time being. As they come off the corner, it's that 03 of William Karp still manning the high side. No challengers yet to Octavio Rondoletto's. There's just 9 laps left to go. Here we go. Aquinas LaBeouf's going to go to the inside. He's going to try to help his teammate out. William Karp now is going to push the 1 of Aquinas LaBeouf. That makes the first car on the inside behind Rondoletto, Alex Gangler. So Gangler now is dealt the duty of pushing the 77 car. Let's see if Gangler tries to make a move, or will he be content to run right behind the 77? That high side mounting a charge now as they have it a little bit organized. That's a lot of good cars up on the high side with LaBeouf, Karp, and Turpin. Let's see if they can get something going here. Gangler hits the apron a little bit, gets really loose. That's going to check up the inside line. The outside line rockets ahead now as the 1 car LaBeouf takes second from the 82. He's now going to try to challenge for the lead from Octavio Rondoletto. It's LaBeouf with all the help in the world from his teammate Luke Turpin. As, Karp gets a little loose. Karp gets turned to the outside wall. Hard crash. Caution is going to fly as William Karp had a terrifying crash there as he got hit in the quarter panel by Luke Turpin. It looks like a little bit of a checkup incident there. We'll have to see exactly what happened when we get the replay up for you. But my goodness, that was a violent crash there by William Karp, who was running on the outside in 4th. So caution is out on the Speedway. And here's the replay, and it looks like Karp was trying to maybe go to the inside of his teammate LaBeouf. I got a little loose, checked up, and then, he just came right across the nose of Luke Turpin. He got hit by his other teammate pretty hard there, John Schwartz. Schwartz looks like he hit him in a way, though, that didn't really damage his car much. And that will bring out the caution once again. So a tough break there. Let's see if we can get a quick word in with Aquinas LaBeouf, who's going to be running up in second right now. So we're going to try to get word in with him. So I tune into his channel real quick. That was the wrong channel. That was actually the channel of Darren Snyder. Not who we're trying to get there. There we go. There's Aquinas LaBeouf. Aquinas LaBeouf, it's PD on the broadcast. You got a copy? Aquinas, you're going to find yourself restarting second, or actually it looks like third on this restart. For you, Aquinas, you were right there when that accident happened. What looked like it happened there to the 03 car?
Almost got whiplash from that. I definitely felt it. I was more paying attention to what happened in front, but all that I know is from what I'm hearing from crew chiefs and spotters that he was getting pushed like crazy from Luke Turpin right behind him, and it just pushed him into a gap that he couldn't go. It would have been smarter of him being a teammate to try and push me. I wouldn't have mind. But that was the whole point of getting in front of him, but he didn't want to use that to his advantage, and it came back to bite him in the butt.
Yeah, sometimes, new teammates, they do get a little confused there of who they're supposed to help, who they're not. Regardless, though, Aquinas, you're still going to find yourself restarting in third right behind Octavio Rondoletto, who's led wire to wire so far. What's the game plan here for you to try to get that car in first and ultimately a top 4 starting spot tomorrow?
I know I definitely want to play it smart, because as far as I know, I believe I'm going to be starting towards the back tomorrow, no matter where I finish. I'm just trying to qualify. I definitely want to try, for the most of it, stay behind Octavio and not jump out like I did and just lose the position, because I know it's going to get quite hectic. The only person I'm worried about around me is Kendrick, because he's a little antsy when it comes to the end.
All right, well, Aquinas, thank you for the word, and hopefully after the race we'll get a chance to talk to you again. Thank you, friend.
Yep.
All right, that was Aquinas LaBeouf, driver of the number 1 Big Block Motorsports machine. This time they come by the flag stand, and there still will be 2 to green, so we're going to take a 30-second timeout for station identification. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back on Telesign TV. And welcome back, my friend, to Telesign TV. My name's PDJ Zeller, the voice of XCAL Racing, as we get ready to go back green flag racing in what's going to be a shootout finish here. I'm going to take you down through the top 10. In first place, we have Octavio Rondoletto, who's led wire to wire so far. In second is going to be Alex Gangler. In third will be Aquinas LaBeouf. Fourth, Kendrick Cryer. Fifth, Kenny Tripp. Sixth, Benjamin Eaton. Seventh, Darren Snyder. Eighth, Pat Sullivan. Ninth, John Schwartz. And 10th will be Art Hendren, as we still have 21 cars running on the lead lap here late in the going. So if you're in it, you certainly could still win it, as they get 1 to green this time by, as the field's really hesitant to get things doubled up, but they do now. We're going to have 3 laps to go when we get this thing started, so there will be no more cautions in this race. We will be racing it out to the end, and it'll be interesting to see if anyone can mount a charge in that 77. I've known the High Line has really had a hard time getting things going this race. I'll be curious to see if maybe they can get things going early on in this run. I think the key to this is Gangler getting a good restart. Gangler on the outside really has to get that 82 car going and stay neck and neck with the 77 if the outside lane has any chance. If he can't do that, I really don't see any way the 77 Rondoletto loses this race, especially considering that the 1 car of Aquinas LaBeouf is content to just transfer. He will be starting with an EOL tomorrow due to a practice infraction, so he really isn't too worried about winning this heat race. He just wants to make sure he transfers to the main event. As we come through 3 and 4, the field is at the mercy of Octavio Rondoletto for one final time. Can Rondoletto finish off this perfect race, or can Alex Gangler spoil his party? They come through 3 and 4. It's going to be the iRacing Ford Mustang making that hard left-hand turn. Here we go. Texas Terry holds the green flag in his hand one last time, and he waves it. Green flag in the air. We're down and away, and Gangler did not go at all on that outside lane. Gangler gets trapped up on that high side, and Kendrick Cryer now will drive underneath Gangler. So Cryer makes it down low behind Gangler. Gangler stuck up on that high side all by himself. No one else there really to help him. Up front, it is LaBeouf riding right on the bumper of the 77 as Gangler does find a hole to slip down into in 4th, as he finds himself now running strongly in the top 5. Gangler now is going to maybe look back to the outside. He's going to think better of it running low. So no cars on the outside. No challenge right now for our leader of the 77 of Octavio Rondoletto. Here we come around the corner off turn number 4. Texas Terry holds popsicle sticks in the air. 2 laps to go from Texas. LaBeouf peeks to the inside. Nothing doing there yet. He's going to try to get some help from Cryer. Remember, LaBeouf said he does not trust that 66 of Cryer, so we'll be very curious to see what happens here in the closing laps of this race as Cryer runs right on his bumper. Things are getting hectic all throughout the pack right now. Everyone's slicing and dicing for these positions in the closing moments of this race. Up front, though, it is LaBeouf running right behind Rondoletto, and he gives him a shove. LaBeouf content to just run second right now. He just wants to make it into a transfer spot. Here they come through 3 and 4. This time by off of corner number 4. It's Octavio Rondoletto's LaBeouf gets loose, and that's going to allow Crayer to get to the inside of LaBeouf. White flag in the air. One more lap to go. Rondoletto with a huge advantage. That really could be his demise, though. Here they come, and into one. It's going to be LaBeouf and Crayer touching doors. Crayer on the inside will clear LaBeouf. Does he have enough time to make a charge on that 77? Here they come down the backstretch off the corner. A huge run for the 66. Where does he go with it? Crayer jumps to the outside. Crayer trying to make the pass for the win. He has no help. He's going to have to pinch the 77 down low. They come through the corner. The 66 pinches him low. The 66 gets loose. They're all wrecking behind him for the final few transfer spots. Here they come to the checkered flag. It's going to be Octavio Rondoletto winning the race. Second place is a dead heat at the stripe. I think it might have been Crayer by a bumper, and it was Crayer by a bumper. Third place was Clinus LaBeouf. Fourth was Alex Gangler. And fifth, after a mess of wrecks behind the leaders, is going to be John Schwartz, who was able to come through with 5th position. So those are your 5 cars that transferred from this heat race. As another entertaining one for sure, as there was a couple wrecks there on the last lap. Not sure what happened. But we are going to talk to our winner, Octavio Rondoletto, in just one moment here. And here we are down in Victory Lane with Octavio Rondoletto. And Octavio, another heat race win for you. You led wire to wire, man. Up front the whole race. No one was able to really get around you. Tell us, how were you able to keep that car out in front the whole time?
Hello. Well, the race was easy for me without problems. But I like super speedways, and speedways 1.5 miles. Setup fixed is interesting because all cars are in the same, and I'm happy with the result. I think I am good in this type of way.
All right, well, Octavio, is there anyone you'd like to thank, sponsors, crew, and team?
Well, thanks to all the team, Jeremy and Tanner, my family, my friends who are supporting me in the race. I have no more to say.
All right, well, thank you, Octavio, for those words. Congratulations on a heat race win. Hope to hear from you more tomorrow. And that'll wrap up things here from heat race number 3. On behalf of myself, PDJ Zeller, the voice of XCAL Racing, everyone at Telesign TV, Tanner, Caitlin, and their great team who make these broadcasts possible, on behalf of Aaron Hillbush and all the people at XCAL Racing who make XCAL Racing possible, we will see you in an hour for heat race number 4. Don't go anywhere.